Hi everyone, welcome back to another Airtable video tutorial. And in this video, I am going to cover conditional lookups. For those of you who are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Tom. I cover lessons, tips, and tricks and tools as a freelance consultant slash entrepreneur. So if that's of interest to you, consider subscribing. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. So what you see here is my setup for a lookup tutorial. What we're going to cover is a very simple example of having particular tasks for a particular project. And what I want to do here is, let's say you have a particular number of rates for a particular task. So what we call is a rate card. So when I open up the rate card, and this is a term that's used in the consulting practice, where we have client rate cards. So this is the exact same example I'm trying to use here, where you have a particular task. So in this case, you see strategy, funnel, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And this is from a perspective of a digital marketer. So I just use some really quick examples here to kind of give you an idea, like the type of task or type of services that you offer and what are their current rates. Now, I don't want to overly complicate the rates and whether it's hourly or not. So I just want to keep this simple to teach you how to do a lookup, a conditional lookup. So here we have a rate card with a set of tasks and what you typically charge to do that work. And what I've done here under the task table is I've tied a particular task name with a project. Well, that's not a proposal date. This is a template, so let's say projects. Let's go ahead and change that. All right. So over here on the projects, you have 2 projects, and then each project will have a set number of tasks. And what we want to do is then tie a task with a particular rate card. So I'll show you how to do that right here in a second. So what we want to first do is that we want to make a relationship with tasks and the rate card. So let's go ahead and type in a new field here called rate card. And we're going to link this to the rate card table. And as in previous tutorials, I like to do one-on-one relationships, have one particular rate for a particular task. So we don't want to have a one-to-many, we just want one-to-one. So we're going to turn that off, hit save. It's going to ask you, this is a brand new feature that Airtable asks, is whether or not you want lookup fields, but we're going to do this completely manual so that way you can understand and learn how to do this on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this. So what we want to do here is then go ahead and select a particular rate card. So you'll see here that discovery call is the first task. So I'm going to go and pick strategy. This funnel build, let's go ahead and pick funnel tier 1. We have weekly blog posts. Let's go ahead and pick article contents. Then we have 10-minute video. We'll go ahead and pick, let's see here, video per minute. And then we have another video, YouTube video. Let's say it's a video per video. And then the last one is another funnel build. Let's make that tier 2. Okay, so there we have it. So the rate card has been associated. So why do we want to do this? Well, we're basically saying this particular task is tied to this rate card. And what we want to do is do a lookup. And what I mean by the currency field, we want to create a rate field next to it as a lookup. This is going to be a lookup. So I'm going to put, for tutorial purposes, I'm going to put lookup next to it so we can identify that really quickly. Type in the word lookup. And then what we do is that because we've made this association, we made this link. So if you watch my previous tutorials on how to link tables, Airtable knows in this case the task table is tied to either projects or a rate card. So we made that association with rate cards. Let's go ahead and pick that. That's where we want to pull information from. That's where we want to look up information. So what do we want to look up? We want to look up the rate. Now, what I want to do is go ahead and hit save. But before I do, I have to make formatting and change it to currency, as I mentioned earlier before, hit save. So there we have it. Now the rate's pulled up. So let's, for example, validate this. Strategy is at $250. Funnel tier 1 is 1,000. So we go to the rate card. You have strategy, $250, funnel tier 1, 1,000. And as you can see, the task ID, the unique ID was populated here that wasn't there before. So this was auto created by Airtable. So it tells you the associations. So what we're going to do next is show you how to do a conditional lookup. So let's say you want to make sure strategy was inactive and you only want to pull active. So right now, if I go back to task, I just made that change, go back to task. So you have the 250 here that shows up. If I double click on rate lookup, and there's a little checkbox here, a toggle that says only include linked records from the rate card, right? That meets certain conditions. So let's go ahead and check that. So now we're looking at that table rate card and say where the task name, right, contains, and that's condition, but we want to change this to status is active. So that you can do multiple conditions, but we're going to do one condition only in this example. Hit save and look at what happened. Strategy, the rate for strategy disappeared because now it's conditional. We only want to pull values that were active. So the next step here is to then, let's go ahead and validate how this works. So let's go to the rate card and then mark strategy to be active again. It should say 250. So if I go back to tasks, and there you go. So let's do this where you now have this power of toggling whenever a particular rate was active or inactive, or you're picking something that was invalid. You can easily see whether or not something gets populated and put other formulas around this where if some rate was missing, you can evaluate and saying, hey, you're missing a rate. You may want to update your rate card. Right? You do some kind of check, but that's going to be outside of this tutorial for now. We could always cover that later, but what I want to do here is really just to teach how lookup functions work. Similarly, if you want to add a particular like multiple conditions of a task to do another lookup, we're going to do one more example so you can see this. So let's say each task has a certain level of contingency. You're not sure about this particular project. You're not sure how difficult it's going to be. So you want to add on a particular contingency, which is, again, is another best practice in the consulting world. So I have a contingency table where we have a confidence level from high, medium, low, and also not applicable. And we have a custom set of percentages that we want to designate for each level. So when there's a high level of confidence, we want to do a 10% contingency. When there's a low, we want to add 30% on top of the rate. So the reason why we want to do a contingency is so that way it covers our butt. So these are our standard rates. So let's go ahead and add a relationship with tasks and contingency. So we're going to go ahead and create a confidence level field where we're going to do a relationship with contingency and allow only a one-to-one relationship. So now I'm going to skip this because we're going to do this manually so we can learn. And then we're going to go ahead and add our different contingency levels. Now let's go ahead and pick a few random ones. I'm going to go pick low, low, okay. So we got a few contingency levels of confidence levels for a particular task, saying that we have a medium confidence level that we have all the information we need to do this task. A low confidence means we don't really know so much about it, but we have a general idea how much in the past it would cost us to do, but we want to add and bake in some additional fees on top of that to help cover our butt when it comes to scope creep. So let's go ahead and do another lookup. We're going to look up basically contingency, okay, and then we do a lookup. Once again, actually, let me go ahead and put the word lookup here just for reference. And then we're going to go ahead and pick our confidence level, which is our contingency. So we're going to be looking up based on confidence level. And then we're going to go and pull the percentage. So it's going to look at the confidence level, which it knows that it's in that contingency table, and look at percentages. And we're not going to need a condition in this case here. So we're going to hit save. And then, oh, I forgot. There's zeros here because I need to change the formatting to a percentage, not an integer. So let's go ahead and save that. And there we have it. So now we have our little contingency level. Now, why is this important? It's because I could do some calculations. This is the power of having lookups to then pull these values so I can compare the rate as well as the contingency into a formula. Not compare, sorry, to do a calculation between these two values. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we put 20% on top of this price. So let's go ahead and say total costs. We do a formula. And what we want to say is the rate going to be multiplied with an asterisk. And I'm going to put a parentheses. Now we're going to do a little bit of math here. I want to do 1 plus the contingency lookup. Okay, so I'm going to type in contingency lookup. And the reason why you want to do 1 plus is that 1 represents 100% plus the percentage difference. So let's say it's 20%, it'd be 120%. So you're multiplying the rate by 120% to add 20% to the value, because 250 times 1 is 250 plus 20% in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and change the form. No need to change the formatting, but I'm going to go ahead and hit save. I must have missed a little value here. Let me check. Oh yes, I did. Okay, so now we got our total cost calculated, and whoops, forgot to change the formatting. Let's go ahead and do that really quick. Go to formatting, change the currency, save, and there we have it. So now we got our total costs in the right format, and you can see how the calculation works. It added 20%, so we added $50 to $250. Now it's $300. So let's go ahead and change this confidence level to being high, and you can see how it dynamically changes to 10%. Which only adds $25 to the original rate. So now it's $275. So that pretty much does it for this tutorial. I really hope you found this valuable and that you can learn how to play with lookups in your Airtable setup. But other than that, if you found this useful, please give it a thumbs up. And then that's pretty much it. I will see you guys in the next one, and I'll catch you later.